Most motivational content tells you to just keep going, but science tells us that blind persistence is a recipe for burnout. To truly understand why you shouldn't quit, you first have to understand why your brain is begging you to stop. In every meaningful pursuit, there is a phenomenon known as the dip. It is the long, slow slog between the initial excitement of starting and the eventual achievement of mastery. It is a valley of difficulty where easy wins disappear and the plateau of latent potential takes over. Why does this happen? Biologically, your brain is a prediction machine. In our evolutionary past, we lived in an immediate return environment. If you found food, you ate. If you ran from a predator, you survived. But the modern world is a delayed return environment. When you study for a degree, build a business, or learn a craft, the rewards may be years away. This creates the valley of disappointment, a period where your effort is being stored like an energy in a battery, even though you see no results. This is the first secret of the elite. The dip is not an obstacle, it is a filter. It creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. If there were no dip, everyone would be a master, and your achievement would be worth nothing. Persistence isn't just a feeling, it is a physical reconfiguration of your neural circuitry. Brain imaging studies have identified that individuals with a growth mindset display significant neural activity in the dorsal lateral prefrontal cortex and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex when they examine their mistakes. Think about that. When a fixed mindset person fails, their brain shows almost no activity. They have effectively shut down to protect their ego. But for those who choose not to quit, the brain is on fire, processing the error, rewiring its pathways, and building what scientists call cognitive reserve. Through neuroplasticity, the more you choose to persevere, the more efficient your brain hubs become at self-regulation and goal-directed behavior. You are literally building a path through a field. With every repetition of a growth-oriented thought, that path becomes deeper until resilience becomes your default setting. Nature provides the ultimate proof of this: stored effort. Consider the Chinese bamboo tree. After the seed is planted, you must water it and provide fertile soil every day. For the first year, you see nothing. The second, third, and fourth years pass, and still there is no sign of life above the surface. At this point, many would call the farmer a fool. But in the fifth year, a miracle occurs. The bamboo shoots up 80 to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No. It spent 4 years developing an extensive, solid underground root system. Without those 4 years of silent growth, the tree would collapse under its own weight the moment it reached for the sky. Your valley of disappointment is your root-building phase. Every day you show up when no one is watching, every hour you put into a craft that yields no immediate profit, you are anchoring yourself for a future that others will eventually call an overnight success. To master the don't quit mindset, we must address the specific walls faced by every section of society. For the students, academic burnout is real. Research shows that 60% of university students experience high levels of stress and 45% show symptoms of chronic burnout. This often stems from the preparedness gap, finding yourself underprepared for the rigor of new challenges. If you feel exhausted, sluggish, or cynical, know that you are not failing. Your resources are simply overwhelmed. The solution isn't just more work, it's recovery. Studies show that 20-minute naps in creative outlets like art or music can reduce this stress and restore your cognitive function. For the professionals and entrepreneurs, we live in the era of the Great Resignation. In 2021, quit rates hit a 20-year high, largely driven by low pay and a lack of advancement. But don't let the blue flame founder myth fool you. While society glamorizes the 20-something billionaire, MIT and NEBR research reveals that the average age of the most successful startup founders is actually 45. A 50-year-old founder is nearly twice as likely to achieve high-tier growth as a 30-year-old. Your age is not a countdown. It is a repository of experience, risk management, and network density. For the elders, as we age, the challenge shifts from doing to being. Loneliness and social isolation are associated with higher risks of heart disease, depression, and cognitive decline. But not quitting in your later years means staying engaged. Research proves that cognitive reserve, the ability of the brain to improvise and find alternate ways of getting a job done, is built through lifelong learning and leisure activities. Seniors who tutored children for 15 hours a week showed significant improvements in both cognitive and physical health. Your purpose does not retire. If you feel like your path is impossible, look to those who stood where you are now. Thomas Edison experimented with thousands of materials for the light bulb filament. He didn't see 10,000 failures. He saw 10,000 ways that didn't work. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team, a dip that could have ended his career, but he used that pain to build a work ethic that resulted in 6 NBA championships. Consider the Montgomery bus boycott. This wasn't just a moral stand. It was a masterclass in economic persistence. For 381 days, a community refused to ride. It cost the city an estimated $3,000 every single day. They didn't win in a week. They won because they organized their money and their people until the system itself felt the strain of their resolve. And look at the world of science. The Human Genome Project took over 30 years to complete. The mRNA technology used in our most recent vaccines was in development for 40 years. Human progress is a relay race of people who refuse to quit when the results were invisible. We close with the words of William Ernest Henley. In 1875, Henley lay in a hospital bed. He had already lost one leg to tubercular arthritis, and the other was at risk. In the midst of that horror of the shade, he wrote Invictus. He wrote, "My head is bloody, but unbowed." This poem didn't just save Henley's spirit, it became a beacon for history. Nelson Mandela recited those lines to his fellow prisoners on Robben Island during his 27-year incarceration, using them to maintain his self-mastery. Winston Churchill paraphrased them to the House of Commons during the darkest days of World War II. Persistence is a silent revolution. Every step forward challenges the forces that want to drive you backward. Success is often just failure turned inside out, the silver tint on the clouds of doubt. You never truly know how close you are to the golden crown. So, when the road is all uphill, and your funds are low, and your heart is heavy, rest if you must. Take a breath, adjust your strategy, but do not quit. Because the roots are growing, the brain is rewiring, and you, and only you, are the captain of your soul.